Hi, today I'm here to talk to you about ephemeral credentials for deployments. So who am I? I'm Marc LeBlanc. I'm the Arctiq delivery leader. I've been consulting for a number of years, focusing on automation, CI/CD, and microservices. Now, the problem we're talking about when we're talking about ephemeral credentials at deployment, the bigger problem is the fact that secrets management is becoming increasingly difficult for the scale and complexity and speed at which organizations are operating at today. This comes with a lot of risks. Some of the risks are too many static secrets kicking around, there's too many plain secrets, secrets are being mishandled, they're not being rotated, and probably one of the biggest ones is apps and developers are just not ready. They're moving so quickly, we're still supporting technology that's somewhat dated, and it's just not ready to take advantages of some of the newer features that are available for secrets management. And the list goes on. The whole idea here is this is putting your infrastructure, your data, and your IP at risk. So one way we can cut down on some of the risks is looking at secrets at deployment time. Some of the benefits if we're doing this are we have an entirely automated pipeline for secret generation. No human has to trigger the creation or get that secret over to the application. We also have automated secret rotation, so we can have secrets being revoked and managed at a time schedule that we set. That's that point as well, the automated revocation. So for my demo, the toolbox that I put together consists of Vault, which as we all know is a secrets management tool, and Waypoint. The point I have up here is actually what I pulled off of Wikipedia. Wikipedia says Waypoint is an intermediate point or place on a route or line of travel, a stopping point or point at which a course is changed. Now, what we're doing with HashiCorp is kind of makes sense because this is the tool that's going to bring all of our development cycle together. It allows us to manage the build, the deployment, and the release of our applications. So specifically what I want to show around getting the secrets at deployment time is we're going to show some integration between Waypoint and Vault. So what is it? Waypoint can synchronize configuration variables for an application from sources such as Vault. So this is really handy because when you tell Waypoint to deploy your application, it's also going to say, hey Vault, I need some stuff for this application to do the cool thing you got it to do. Why does this matter? If we think back to the benefits I highlighted a couple of slides ago, one is it's ephemeral. It's a short-lived credential. We have it set to, and the demo we're going to be doing, we have it set to actually expire after 30 seconds. So after 30 seconds, that credential is not good to anybody. Second benefit that I see is that it is entirely automated. At no point does a developer or a sysadmin or anyone have to do anything to handle and manage these secrets. It's entirely automated end-to-end. And the third, and this is a big one for today's security risks, is it's auditable. So I know who used the credential, what they did with it, and how they got it. So the demo agenda. We're going to deploy a simple application. It's written in Go. It is Vault unaware. And so what I mean by that is the application itself will be making no direct calls to Vault for any credentials or any secrets. It's going to be depending on Waypoint to make those available to it. We're going to do an update to the deployment to show dynamic credentials for database engine in action. We'll see them actually be revoked after the 30 seconds and see them update as well. We're also going to take a look at the very native Waypoint and Vault integration, where there's a Waypoint Vault plugin that can inject secrets into a running pod on Kubernetes. And we'll take a look at some of the visibility gains and highlight benefits of ephemeral credentials at deployment time. That's it. Let's go into the demo. All right, so for this demo, what I have set up is a single GKE cluster with a namespace set up for Vault, a namespace set up for Waypoint, and a namespace set up for our simple Go application. So everything's co-hosted on this single cluster. So we take a look here, we can see the namespace for the Hello Creds application, the namespace for Vault, and the namespace for Waypoint. within our Vault, we have the Kubernetes auth engine set up, and we'll be using that so that when the application comes online, that service account and that namespace will be able to authenticate against Vault and get the right credentials. Also in Vault, we have the database secrets engine that'll be providing dynamic secrets for a Cloud SQL backend, and then we have a static KV store. Inside of our Go application, it's just a simple application. It's going to be doing some MySQL queries. It's going to be looking for a Google Maps API key, but none of that's been baked in. It's going to rely on Waypoint to provide that. Within our single Waypoint config file, we have a very plain beginner kind of setup. So it's at this point, it is not doing any of these secrets management. It's setting up the project within Waypoint. It's setting up the application hello creds. We have the build defined. We have the deployment defined within the hello creds namespace, as well as the release also with a load balancer and the hello creds namespace. So next, we're going to go ahead and deploy this. And to save time, because I didn't want people to watch an image building, I've pre-built the image, so it's been built, and we're just going to be using that from that point. So we've already done the Waypoint build part of the lifecycle. So we'll go ahead and we'll do a Waypoint deploy. But what we'll also do is we'll just set up some watch commands so we can actually see the pods and the services come online as we go through that flow. So we're just watching that namespace. We see that there's no resources found. And there it comes up already. We see that there's, we're just waiting for the pod to become ready. There's only one container in that pod. Sometimes this takes a moment. And once it switches to ready, we'll see it start to provision the services as well. So there we see it's switched over to the services. So we'll switch and we'll watch for the load balancer to come online. Load balancer has already been provisioned. We're just waiting on an external IP address. And this can take a few seconds. Sometimes it depends on how busy Google is, I guess. And there we go. We have a IP address. We can go and check out our application that we've deployed. And so like I said, at this point, it has not been made aware of any of those credentials, those secrets. So it's giving us two bright red error messages. Hey, something's not right. So we need to fix that. So we're going to come back into our deployment and we're going to tear this one down. So we're going to do a Waypoint destroy, give it the auto approve. And if we watch over here, we'll watch for these services to come down. So we'll check out the pods first. Okay, so we see that the destroy was successful. Those services will come down. So what we're going to go ahead and do here now is we're going to annotate the deployment of the application. And so when we're done this demo, what we're going to see is there's two different ways to get Waypoint to consume secrets from Vault. What we're doing right now is we're going to annotate that pod deployment so that it includes the Vault agent injector. And what we've done here is we see that it's gotten a path for the database credentials. It's got a template file that it's going to be making use of. It's got the database host key value. And let's just go ahead and check that this is down. We'll start a new deployment here. Great, so we'll start that. We'll just do a quick check of our pods. And now what's interesting, we see that it is including the two containers within that pod. And that's because the Vault agent's been deployed as a sidecar service there as well. So we'll just wait for that to come up. So there's that. Now we're just waiting on the service. But what we can actually check here too is if we do a check against our Vault instance, we can see the audit device is logging those requests from that application as it comes online. We can see that it is hitting it's renewing those tokens, it's hitting that right path. We can see that it's using the correct service account, and it's coming from the right namespace of hello creds. We see that the service is still coming up. And there we are. So now if we flip back over to our newly deployed application with the Vault agent sidecar, and there we go. So on the left-hand side, we see that it's got a hold of some dynamic credentials. It's pulled out some data from a database table. It's using those credentials that are reflected there. And on the right, this is the code that achieved this. And if we watch this and we just do a refresh here, after 30 seconds, these credentials will expire. So when I do a refresh, we'll see there it is. A new password and username were generated from Vault automatically. But we still have this other red error. And so this is where we want to solve this with the, what I call the native waypoint integration with Vault. So what we're going to use is a way to push an environment variable over to that running application without a redeploy or without a restart. And we do that by defining an environment section of our deployment, or waypoint config file rather. And you can see that I've defined a maps API key, and you see that it's coming from kv hello creds. Just do a quick scan of our Vault log here. We can see that those database leases are expiring as we expected. If we just scan for that application come online, we should see some information as it comes up. So instead of doing a waypoint deploy, we're just going to do a waypoint config sync. So this is going to synchronize this configuration to that already deployed application. And if we check on the waypoint logs, we can see that it's done a restart of the application. Oh, there was a typo in our grep, but that's okay. There we see more information coming from our hello creds application. If we switch back over, and we just do a reload, now we can see that we have a static secret being injected by waypoint. It was done by this config. The result is we have a Google map. And what I want to show here now is if we just check it against the environment that waypoint sees for that application, we see that the maps API key is available. But if we check against the running pod, we'll notice that the same environment variable is not available. That's because the waypoint's entry point that gets injected to the binary when it's built that handles that communication. So it's an extra layer of security. An operator that has access to these running pods cannot directly get access to that secret because it is not available in the environment when they log in. It is only available through waypoint. And that's that. That is kind of the demo. Just in kind of summary, where I see waypoint going with that more native integration with Vault, where we don't have to include the agent sidecar, where I can just push a config updated to a running application and it will update on the fly. I think that's really cool. I think that brings a lot of excitement for where we're going with secrets management. And I'm really looking forward to see what happens next with waypoint.